Your mind is a garden. You are the gardener. Every moment you plant seeds. These seeds are all the thoughts that flow through your mind continuously. You plant thousands of seeds every day, maybe even tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands. But you always consciously choose which seeds you plant. Are you happy with the current condition of your mind's garden? Do you even know how to consciously plant seeds in your mind's garden? We often let our minds run our lives on autopilot without ever really questioning the thoughts that flow through our minds continuously. The majority of our thoughts are unconscious, so we identify with these thoughts. And the majority of these thoughts really originate from deep seated beliefs that we have about ourselves and the world that we live in, and these are all held deeply in our subconscious. To consciously cultivate a beautiful garden in your mind, you need to take responsibility for the seeds that you plant and become more aware of the gardening process and how it all works. You need to understand your mind on a deeper level. As the gardener of your mind, do you take responsibility for the seeds you plant? If you don't choose the seeds you plant, you let the outside world take control of your mind's garden. You let the outside world pretty much program your mind's garden. You don't want to be at the mercy of the outside world. This will lead to your mind's garden being filled with seeds of fear, anger, hatred, doubt, and greed, which are far too abundant in modern society. We become so distracted with the world around us that we neglect the world within us. We never really take the time to look inside and see how we're truly feeling. We look for approval and validation outside us that we don't really look for within, and we can always find this from within. The only place you'll find permanent peace, love, and bliss and joy is inside you. These are always inside you, but you have to make a conscious decision to plant these seeds within you. You need to take responsibility for your mind's garden and realize that instead of searching endlessly for these from without, you can find them all and plant them all from within. My mind's garden used to be almost completely filled with negative seeds of fear, anger, hatred, doubt, and greed, and they eventually grew into weeds. This greatly affected the outer world I experienced in a very negative manner, and it also negatively affected my mental health, as I had a bunch of thoughts, and negative seeds growing in my mind every single moment. And when I decided to take responsibility for the thoughts in my mind and the seeds that I planted as the gardener of my mind, that was when I started to take my power back. That is when I stopped relying on the outside world to program my mind, and I took responsibility to know that I am the master gardener of my garden. And this was a completely life-changing decision, and I haven't looked back since. When I decided to take responsibility for my mind's garden as the gardener, when I decided on a vision that truly motivated and inspired me, which is to help people train their mind to find the divine inside, I started to replace these weeds with seeds of love, peace, compassion, patience, and bliss. And that's just to name a few, but it's not enough just to root out the weeds. You need to replace them with their opposite. You need to replace the negative with the positive. Replace them with beautiful roses, daisies, lilies, an abundance of loving seeds, whatever you feel like your mind's garden should look like, whatever your version of Eden or heaven is. Your mind's garden will never be empty. It is forever fertile. It's a fertile growing ground. It's a fertile garden, a ground of infinite possibilities waiting for seeds to be planted. And seeds are always going to be planted. So, you have to choose consciously which seeds you're planting. Do you want to unconsciously choose negative seeds to plant, which will grow into weeds? Or would you like to consciously choose loving seeds? Whatever seeds you plant will manifest eventually, but some take longer than others depending on your inner and outer actions and depending on the emotions you feel daily. To start to beautify your mind's garden, plant these seeds of love and peace with patience and consistency. Understand that they'll take time to bloom. Patience and consistency. If you're just planting them every single day and you have faith in the process and you trust, pretty much magic will happen. It will not happen overnight. Nourish them the best that you can and have faith that they'll bloom eventually. Even when you can't see physical evidence of this, you know it by the feeling. They'll take time to manifest in your physical reality, but changing your inner world, changing your inner reality is the foundation of changing your outer reality. It's the foundation of changing the world around you. This is true alchemy. This is mental alchemy, emotional alchemy, spiritual alchemy maybe. And this is a huge, basically, mindset shift, is that the outer reality just reflects your inner reality. So if you want to feel and experience love and peace in your life, search inside for this love and peace that you want to manifest outside you. And know that it's already inside you. It will always be inside you. It always has been inside you. The outer reality is equally as important as the inner reality, but we focus on the outer reality far more. We don't really focus on our mind's garden. We don't really focus on how we're feeling because we're caught up in this whole game. We're caught up in the whole illusion of the glitter and the gold. But when you start to plant seeds of love and peace in your mind's garden, you'll really be able to feel the difference in your mindset. And this is something only you will know and experience. It's not something that you can brag to other people about or gloat and make other people feel jealous, because that's not the point. The point of feeling love and peace, the point of basically beautifying your mind's garden, isn't to make other people jealous. It's to so you can live in peace. It's so you can live in complete self-love, and knowing that self-love is loving yourself unconditionally as well as loving everybody else unconditionally. Thoughts are the seeds you plant in your mind's garden, and emotions are the water that allow these seeds to blossom and manifest into your reality as beautiful flowers. These can work harmoniously together, or they can work against each other depending on the relationship between your emotions and thoughts, whether they're in tune with each other. If you want to plant seeds of love in your mind's garden, but your emotional state is always full of fear, anger, doubt, hatred, it will be a struggle. It will take far longer for these seeds to grow and blossom because they're not receiving the proper nourishing. They're not receiving the proper watering. Watering these seeds of love with emotions of fear and anger, it's not going to help these seeds grow. If you want to grow seeds of love, you need to water them with emotions that are in tune with that, of love, of patience, of passion, of compassion. And the more positive are your emotions, the more potent they're going to be in watering these beautiful seeds of love, peace, bliss, joy. And the more negative they are, the more potent they're going to be in nurturing seeds of fear and lack. So you want to decide consciously which basically path you want to be on. Like attracts like. Some emotions are far more effective in nurturing certain seeds, in nurturing basically their counterpart or their attunement. And when your emotions are in tune with your thoughts, when they're vibrating on the same wavelength, so to speak, this allows for the seeds to grow quicker. It's basically a compounding effect. Your feelings are just as important, as important as the thoughts that you have. The water that you use on the seeds are just as important as the seeds themselves. They work hand in hand. You're not going to grow the seeds without the water, and you're not going to grow the flowers with just the water. You need both the seeds and the water. You need both the positive thoughts and the positive emotions. You can get them to work together when you really have an ideal vision of your Eden, of your heaven, of what you want your mind's garden to look like in a perfect world, in a utopia. Then you'll be able to plant these seeds of love and water them more easily and effectively with a positive emotional state that you have to find by really looking inside. It's important to have a vision for what your ideal mind's garden looks like. What does your mental state of heaven look like? What is your version of Eden, the Garden of Eden? While everybody has a unique perspective and a unique vision for their life, themes that we all have in common include a longing for a sense of self-love and inner peace. If you have no idea what you want, if you have no idea what you dream, start brainstorming now, because this is really essential in choosing what seeds you want to plant. How can you choose the right seeds to plant if you don't know what you want your garden to look like? When I started my gardening journey, all I knew that I wanted the garden to be filled with harmony, love, and peace. And I didn't really have a strong mental vision for what it would look like, but I knew the feeling I desired. It was a very abstract vision. It wasn't very concrete in my mind, so it took a little longer for it to manifest. But I realized through this process that the feeling, how you feel inside, is far more important than the physical appearance, than the physical vision. But the physical vision can definitely help and to basically accelerate this process. And every day I made a conscious effort to plant seeds of love and peace in my mind's garden. And in effect, I stopped giving as much energy to the weeds that resided there, because my emotions started to change in tune with that. So I stopped basically watering these weeds with negative emotions, and the weeds are not going to stay if you're showering them with love and compassion. They're not in tune with that. And little by little, day by day, I completely transformed my mind's garden to the point where it's completely unrecognizable for where it was only 2 years ago. And it didn't happen overnight. It's a patient, consistent process. And as I started my journey, my vision became clearer pretty much every single day. And it definitely changed. It became more specific. And again, this didn't happen overnight. It requires patience, consistency, and faith in the process. And faith is another big aspect of this. I knew that the more plant or the more seeds that I planted, in my mind's garden, the more it would manifest, the more seeds of love. I had to trust that just planting them was enough. But I could have given up at any point. I could have taken the easy way out and let society program my mind, which wouldn't have given me any different results from the negative emotions I was always feeling. And I really had to trust inside, focus on the feeling inside that the more beautiful my mind's garden would become, the more beautiful my emotions would become, the more self-love that I would feel. And the feelings in my heart and gut really gave me assurance that I was on the right path, following this guidance of love. And I continued planting seeds of love and peace, and I continue to do it every single day, almost every single moment. And my goal is to plant them as often as possible in each moment of the present when I'm really conscious, when I'm really aware. Your mind is a garden. You're the gardener. Plant seeds that you dream to reap. For me, these are seeds of love and peace. What seeds will you plant today? What type of garden do you seek? Remember, be kind to yourself. You know who you are. My name is Ari. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, give me the thumbs up and subscribe down below if you have not yet subscribed to this channel. Peace. Have a great day.